Simon & Schuster AudioWorks presents Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Man, I'm so pissed off.
You always are.
I can't believe we were planning for months our
Okay.
first ever live show
Oh, okay.
at Glastonbury,
Oh, no.
and we got overshadowed. Man, can you believe this?
We got overshadowed by who?
We had so many things to say that would get people pissed off, and they didn't see it
Yeah.
because of that Bob Villain guy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know what they were expecting by cutting from kneecappers to Bond villain. You know, honestly,
I've only listened to a bit. You only need to listen to one Bob Villain song to be like, if you're gonna not show kneecap, you can't show this guy either.
yeah, I know. It's such a
That's crazy.
It's like
I like his music. I'm not a huge fan or anything. I've listened to a bit, but it's like not showing kneecap but showing that guy.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
It does remind me of the live recording of BBC radio or whatever one doing the Rage Against the Machines, and they were told not to say fuck during fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, it's, and they were and they did it anyway, and then they had to cut away from them. It's like, what are you thinking?
I mean, you're kind of begging for it at that
They
point,
were literally begging for it.
Now, we know you have a song where you're saying that you won't do what people tell you, but please don't say the F word in that specific part where you're saying that you won't do what other people are telling you. Please. if you can
Pinky
understand.
promise.
Please, come on. Oh, yeah.
It's and it was like a Christmas show, I think, from what I remember. So it's and because they were top 10 Billboard 100 or whatever the fuck, that's why they were, live on BBC. It's unfortunately, nothing more family friendly fucking was popular at the time, I guess. So they were I guess we'll have Rage Against the Machine on.
Hey, the kids love it.
The kids indeed
They
do
love
love
Raging
it.
Against the Machine, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. It has that monk on fire on the cover. I'm pretty sure that album. I think
it did, yeah. They had the self-immolation.
Would you do that?
Self-immolation?
Mm-hmm.
That's a really heavy question for the first, not even fucking 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
You're asking me if I would self-immolate, really?
Yeah.
I feel like it
and how
after they ruined our Glastonbury show.
That's true. And how did they know
the
that
two people in the audience?
What if he done it accidentally and then he just kind of pretended that he did it on purpose,
You ever see the movie Saint Maud?
No.
It's got a good self-immolation scene in it.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Good movie. Made by the Loves Lies Bleeding director.
Okay. Interesting.
From a few years back.
I did
It's a
Lies
good little
Bleeding.
horror film.
You know what? When
I
I've heard
like Love Lies Bleeding too, but you know what? In hindsight, I think I respected Drive Away Dolls a bit more.
Mm-hmm. When I first heard the title Love Lies Bleeding, I literally interpreted as 3 words. Like Love, Death, and Robots. For some reason.
Oh, so you didn't think it was a statement?
It wasn't. Yeah, exactly. For some reason, I was like, Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh, so you thought it was this movie is called Love, Lies, and Bleeding.
Yes, exactly. For some reason. I don't know why. I was for the longest time, I was like, oh, it makes sense.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, you can definitely read it in that
it's
way.
Someone falls in love, you have the first act, the middle lies, something, and then bleeding at the end,
a kind
whatever
of
the fuck,
triptych.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't know why, I just interpreted it that way.
I don't know why you did that either.
Just a crazy person.
The self-immolation. I don't think I'd be able to.
What if someone I would be so mad if I self-immolated and then someone had a marshmallow and started cooking it over me. What would you do at that point? You were just they ruined it. They ruined the aesthetic.
That might be what happens, dude. not to get too serious, but weren't there like over the last couple of years there were a couple huge self-immolations?
True, yeah. Yeah. That is definitely
and nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
People just kind of looked at them. And that's not to say I don't support the causes that they were doing it for.
Yeah,
it's a shame they had to do that, but they were doing it and nothing happened with the things. It's getting to the point where if you do it, so like some broccoli haircut like TikTok kid might see you doing it, come up behind with like a marshmallow and say, go like,
record a TikTok, and then he went like has 1 million views, billions views, and you're like, well, fuck,
Yeah,
I got
Logan
turned into
Paul,
a farce,
sort of
or something like that.
Everybody's like, remember the marshmallow campfire guy?
Mm-hmm.
You have like a Wikipedia page called like Campfire Guy.
Oh God.
Social media stunt where somebody self-immolated so another person could cook marshmallows on them for TikTok.
They like try to hide your message. They think like they're trying to pretend as if it was a trend, TikTok trend, and they're trying to you like did it for like a cause, but they're just like they're just pretending as if you were doing like a TikTok channel. All the kids are doing this nowadays, Tell your kids not to do this. Warn them about the campfire challenge.
It might, and that's the thing that would work because a lot of people don't look stuff up again. I don't.
That's true.
I was thinking earlier about, you remember how a few months ago there was that guy who ground up and injected a butterfly and then died 3 days later from it?
I remember that.
And I keep thinking about that, and I ask the question in my head, like, why'd he do that? But I don't look up why he did it.
It's too much effort to look it up.
It almost is.
It does.
Like, that guy's just going to live in that space in my mind where I don't know why they did that.
Because it's like maybe
I don't think I'll ever look it up.
It gain its powers,
What powers, man?
It's a scientific method, you gotta try it and then see the results.
I guess it's kind of the scientific. You had a hypothesis.
It does feel like when you're a kid and you're like making potions in a bathtub, you're like combining different soaps and like conditioners.
Yeah, I'm not the only kid that did that.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then this is the next step. You take a butterfly and you grind.
Why did you do that? Why did I do that shit? And apparently you did that shit as a kid.
I feel
just
like
it's just being like you're in the bathroom and you're like, I have to do something, but also I'm like, what if I mix the bubble bath and the soap and the shampoo together? What happens?
It's about the gleefulness of like thinking how simple like invention and creation is back in the day. When you're a child,
alchemy.
Just combining stuff together, and you're like, wow, I'm a genius.
What could I come up with? 3-in-1 shampoo, 3-in-1 body wash. Finally.
That's true. Why do I need these 3 separate bottles? What if I combine them all? And also it's a bubble bath, so it foams up a lot when you can sit in it.
It's just one big bottle of goop that you put on everything, like mayonnaise.
That's true.
It's bathroom mayonnaise.
But that would be amazing. Imagine if some kid actually invents something. Like they're in you like leave your kid in the bath for a millisecond. Let's say that. Don't leave your kid in the bath.
And you come back and they have an invention.
Yeah, they have like they're covered in hair.
Something.
They're covered in hair. Like
Oh, they've got hair growth tonic.
Like a wolf baby, like a man, and then you're like, wow, now I can. What you're like? You grab your kid and you're like, what'd you do? What'd you combine? Tell me.
What if they just had like a doohickey?
That's true. Doohickeys are
they're
fun.
not even alchemizing stuff. They're already engineering.
They're engineering. I feel like you'd create doohickeys, honestly. Like especially like if you go to a garage. Like
everybody's giving it a go.
When you have when my grandparents' house, we had a garage, and you would just make doohickeys. You would like put nails in the board for no reason. It's like a thing.
I don't know if I'd say that's a doohickey.
Put a wheel.
I feel like a doohickey needs to at least have like motion to it. It can't just be like a board with nails.
If I start swinging at people, then it has motion. Maybe I was just doing gang violence more than anything.
Yeah, you were in the Warriors. Dude.
I was in the Warriors.
That's not
the Polish Warriors.
You weren't inventing anything other than criminal behavior.
Wojownicy doesn't sound as good as warriors, honestly.
Gang violence.
Gang violence.
Gang violence.
What would be your weapon?
Gang violence.
What would be your weapon of choice if you were in like a warriors gang? What would your theming be, and what your weapon of choice would be?
I feel like we've talked about this before.
Maybe, because I've been...
But that doesn't matter.
We definitely talked about warriors.
I'm hard at thinking of stuff on the spot, so I'm just looking around. Education, like caps and gowns kind of guys, you know? Like just graduated, scholarly looking things.
They have a diploma.
And we use those like big metal rulers. I say this because I'm looking at the one on my desk right now.
I just got my
big metal ruler.
I just got my PhD in pain, and then you smack the guy.
Ooh, and compasses, you know.
Compasses are good. They at least have a sharp end.
We like hold them so the pointed bit is like between the middle and ring finger in a fist, you know.
That's
like,
good. I think divers would be pretty cool. I've
an old style diver.
Yeah, like they would have wear
like a big daddy in
exactly.
Bioshock.
But you know, an entire gang of them. So just step away. You know, if they're in this warriors fake city of crime city, let's call it. You know, or crime gang city.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what else, but you know, you the channels. Never walk next to the channels if you don't know about the bubble boys or whatever. I don't know, because you see the bubbles in the water. That's why they call them that. Yeah, hell divers.
No, the bell divers.
Oh, bell divers is good. Yeah, they have a bar that's a bell dive at the bottom of a channel.
There should just be like a big Rust style MMO like this. You know,
you make your themed gang.
Yeah, you can make your little themed gang clan, go to war with other gangs for territory.
I don't think
there's like a load of objects in the world, and you can theme around them. You find a load of umbrellas, and you can make it so that our clan has like +3 damage with umbrellas.
That's pretty awesome, yeah. But what happens?
Raincoats, and they synergize with the
yeah.
They synergize with the umbrellas.
They're never wet, you know.
Never wets.
Never wets, you know, or something like that. But then it would be funny when the game is so popular, they run out of props, and there's too
like
many gangs. Yeah, there's overlap. It's like, no, we're the guys with the umbrellas, you know.
That would be that would be what the updates would mostly be, is like adding 100 new items.
A shoe that you can just, it's a prop, you know, with the shoe
like
boys.
Cleats, golf cleats. They're spiked on the bottom.
That's cool.
Bowling balls. Really big clubs. Like caveman style.
And then you also have the bowling balls, but you also have a separate gang that's the bowling pins. And it's really bad, because it's like they're against, you know, the bowling balls go against the bowling pins. They have a, you know, like a bonus damage or something on them.
I think this is a great idea. This would be a good Warriors MMO.
Warriors MMO. But it does feel like a idea that maybe would have been made in like the early 2000s, late 90s or something. Like a Matrix MMO, you know, that sort of thing. But not nowadays.
I think this could... No, because I think this would rival like EVE Online.
Okay.
This is like a more down-to-earth EVE Online.
You think so? So it isn't even like a server where you're like a physical guy, you're just a fucking spreadsheet? Is that what were you making a spreadsheet simulator?
No. I'm not saying it is EVE Online.
Okay.
But I think it would rival it in scale.
I feel like you could make a Gmod server themed around
it would be
this.
like Rust. It would be like Rust, but with the scale of EVE Online.
Okay.
You know?
Well, maybe, you know. Let's get on that.
And we can have, and like EVE Online, we can have like criminal summits.
That's true.
Invite them to our head office. And they have to dress in character for their clan that they're the leader of.
Yeah, they have to put the props from the game on, like, that would be good. Yeah. But yeah.
And if they don't, then we delete all of their characters.
Okay.
We're tyrants. They have to do it. And we film it. And we make them do stupid things.
It's a humiliation ritual. And they can't stop playing. They got addicted to the game, at this point. It's their life,
because they've got a huge gang. Hundreds and hundreds of other players are relying on them. They won't be able to say no.
Feels like you're a psychopath, honestly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, of course. I didn't thought you were a psychopath.
What else do you think we're doing here?
I'm recording a podcast with a psychopath. I'm gonna get cancelled. You'll be fine. I'll be the one that gets cancelled for this.
That would be very disappointing.
What do you mean it would be funny?
Like if the other guy who was the evil one didn't get cancelled, because relative to who they are and what they believe, it doesn't really matter if they get cancelled. But for you care. So even if one person is just like, man, why'd you do a podcast with him? You're fucked up. You're
exactly,
like,
right? You can do a pivot. I can't. My morals don't let me,
My morals.
That's what I do. That's when I get a lobotomy.
I think you would be surprised.
I take a ice pick and I lobotomize myself to remove them from my mind.
Well, I think when this show, Dead Ensigns, welcome. I'm Ben. This is Max. When this show ends and I take a hard right pivot,
oh no!
I think you're gonna be sitting there going, you know what? Bring me along. You know what? Fuck it.
I'm really desperate.
Because all it takes is a couple people to be mad at you, and then your brain just goes, well, fuck it, I'll just go all in.
I guess.
I'm just going to go all in then. If everybody expects me to be this way, then I guess I will be this way, right?
I guess that if that's how you want it to work, then sure.
No, I'm saying that's the impression I get from everybody that does it.
I feel like it just happened to be the people that would do that, that would, like, they're... it's like a Venn diagram that's just two circles over top of each other. The people that would end up doing that and happen to do those things that end up getting them cancelled, sort of thing. And then they do the pivot.
Dream scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they ask him if he wants to take a hard right, like an alt right pivot.
Exactly. And he's like, I don't know. He refuses in the end, but then he goes insane.
Yeah, he does kind of go a bit insane.
Yeah, and the Cage, he goes like, I'm crazy, He goes,
wow.
I'm going to take my face
shaking
off.
That around. I'm crazy.
But what's the thing that he says in the David Lynch movie, in the thing? The coat or whatever? The coat represents my...
It's a symbol freedom. Of his freedom and individuality or something.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It's crazy, that he does what he does.
He's doing his best like Elvis as an actor.
Yeah, he has like eyeshadow and stuff like that. Pretty cool.
It's a good-ass movie, man.
It's a good-ass movie.
And then it turns out, Wizard of Oz.
That's true. Is Wizard of Oz in open domain, or is it not? Is it Disney?
I think it's one of those tricky things where it's like half and half.
Okay, it's like Disney owns like a specific version of Wizard of Oz or something.
No, I think it's one of those things where it came out originally like on the horizon of copyright law.
Okay.
Like Sherlock Holmes. You know how like Sherlock Holmes, some of it is public domain, but not all of it.
Oh yeah.
Some of it is owned by the estate still of that.
It's like Watson isn't like he's in open domain, but Sherlock isn't, or some bullshit like that. Oh,
I don't know.
But who cares about Sherlock? Like Watson,
should we open our license, the creative license for Dead Ensigns? Do you think?
No, never.
You don't want an open license?
Don't let them have it.
All right, okay. You're the boss.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. I was up for it, but Max said no, so sorry, everybody.
No, never. Because it's like, you never know if it's like, we gotta sit on it, one day...
You think Dead Ensigns will appreciate that?
Yeah, we might appreciate, but,
You should probably copyright it before we...
That's true, yeah. Maybe some already did, under us,
Don't you get, like, a common law copyright because we've made, like, 3 years worth of episodes?
Maybe, or true, honestly.
But if somebody comes along and tries to take it, then we can be like, look, we may not have a a copyright on it, but we have been doing this for 3 years now, so...
Yeah, and then,
I think we're cool.
They come around, it's like, I'm an alien from another world, actually, so your human laws don't apply to me. We're like, fuck, he's got us there,
They're like, I'm actually from a different country, I have diplomatic immunity.
I am a diplomat from a different country.
I'm a diplomat and I'm stealing dead ensigns.
Yeah, stealing dead ensigns. I really need it for work. I'm on my way to Congress or whatever, I don't know, the embassies, and I need the dead ensigns mark.
Do you think you would abuse diplomatic immunity?
Yeah, I think it's like, in general, just like a tradition, right, to do that.
How much does it cost? Can you just like grab something from a store and take it? Like, how much freedom do you
Wasn't there like a lady that like ran over a kid in England and she ran to the embassy immediately, and then she was an American, and she flew out of the country, and then it never got resolved.
Well,
everybody knew she did that.
That's extradition. That's different. That's not diplomatic immunity. That extradition is different.
No, they didn't extradite her. She ran away. Like, she
no,
escaped.
I'm saying the refusal to extradite doesn't mean that they have diplomatic immunity.
Oh, wait, extradition is when you get thrown out of a country, right? Or is it
extradition is when you get extradited if it's like you've committed a crime in another country, and that country is like, send them over here so we can you throw them in prison.
No, but
she
was a wife of a diplomat. She was a wife of a diplomat, and the diplomat immunity, I guess it crosses over. It spills over.
Not to get all true crime dark, but there was that cannibal Japanese guy that went to France, student.
And what did he do?
He killed and ate a lady and then went back to Japan, and they just didn't extradite him.
Interesting. That's
and
pretty
it's
cool.
like, he did it. He goes on, they would put him on TV sometimes as like, here's a cannibal, everybody, look. Let's talk to him.
Pretty smart, honestly, of him.
I wouldn't say that even jokingly. I would maybe not. I'd maybe strike that one.
It's a
little bit much.
The Japanese law works in a very weird way. Like, listen, there was a period of time when I did listen to some like true crime stuff, and they basically don't prosecute until they have like 100% certainty they can get you. Like, it's really hard to like defend, because they only prosecute whenever they can get you for 100%, basically.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed, yes, exactly. So it is weird, but whatever. But if someone takes the ensigns, and we can't really do, probably we don't have enough pull, right? In like government leverage.
We don't have any money.
We can use.
If somebody did that, I probably would not invest any money to stop them. To be completely honest.
You wouldn't want to be like, I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna get a Bitcoin assassin on him.
Unless I can guarantee I would get a lot of money in return.
Not for the principal.
I would probably just be like, it's gonna be too much money to take it to court to be like, this is our stupid podcast that we've made for 3 years. Fuck you.
Exactly, Actually, not proud of the logo design. The logo design is good. What if they take the logo?
I think we did a good job on the look. Yeah, the vibe.
The vibe that doesn't really make sense anymore.
Although also is like the intellectual property of a different company.
No, it's, what do they call it? Like, it's fan art. It's fan art. That's what it is.
It is fan art.
If Paramount ever reaches out to us to tell us take it down, we'll be like, yeah, all right, okay, we'll do that.
If Paramount reached out to us, I bet it would be like, damn, that's sick. Can we use that? The skeleton. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can we reference this in Strange New World Season 3?
Yeah, can we have Pike listening to your podcast? And we'll call it something different, and we'll just steal that logo. We won't give you any traffic towards your
total
podcast.
mind fuck. He's listening to an episode that we're talking about. The episode that he's in is like a time loop episode. Where they're like, we found these radio shows from another timeline.
Yeah, we need to solve this
400 years ago.
We need to solve this problem that we have on our ship by listening to a podcast that comments on the episode. You know, it's
they did a crossover episode with a cartoon, bro. I don't think it's out of the wheelhouse.
You know, maybe we'll get pulled into a Star Trek episode at some point. You know,
yeah,
that would be awesome.
We can have a really weirdly dyed hair.
Yeah,
like Boimler.
Like that would be fun.
Did you ever finish that cartoon?
I didn't finish the 2 last seasons because I think it was because it was like. It wasn't available or something. Like it was something dumb where like the last 2 seasons were like different in the subscription. Like you had to pay for them or something dumb like that.
Bullshit.
Oh, like no. Oh, I remember. I think I was watching around the time when I was watching Discovery also. And I finished. I was like, oh, I need to prioritize Discovery because we talked about it.
Prioritize Discovery
Exactly, and then I never went back to.
Maybe we should go back and do a Lower Decks episode.
True. Maybe we should actually instead of watching The Prisoner or watching all of the Final Fantasy's Destination movies. We're actually
Stranding,
playing Expedition 33. Or playing White Knuckle and just doing runs of it.
I bet Tenet was such a cheap movie, dude. They just played like the same movie again in reverse for the second time.
That's true.
I bet when Christopher Nolan came up with that idea, he was like, "Oh my god,
genius.
I'm gonna make so much money.
I can make
I'm gonna make so much money when they release this in theaters normally."
That's true. Oh no. The COVID, Tenet COVID, if you sneeze backwards, then you can prevent the spread of it, you know?
They did, I mean, WB did some annoying stuff around then.
Yeah, definitely.
They did that thing where they were like, we're going to put movies out in theaters and on streaming on the same day.
Yeah, we're going to do
everybody who had in their contracts, like, you get a part of the money that you get of this movie is based on, like, ticket sales, and they're like, well, nobody's going to go and see it buy a ticket to it because they're going to watch it at home and I don't get a cut of that.
Well, should have read the contract, bozo. You know?
Maybe you should have thought about that before making this movie before a pandemic hit the entire world.
Yeah, a worldwide pandemic locked down the entire world.
You're stupid.
Yeah, well, what else? They did the Fortnite thing. Was it a trailer or did they actually show the entire movie? I don't remember. In Tenet.
I don't think they showed Tenet in Fortnite. I think they showed other Christopher Nolan films. I think they showed Memento and stuff.
Might have been. That's a weird movie to watch.
Christopher
Fortnite lobby. Well,
Christopher Nolan's hit film Screen in Game from the BBC.
What was it?
Watch them in.
Is it just
this is showing
all
the
of them?
metaverse though? No, this is people like watching shit in the metaverse. That's not Fortnite, man.
The BBC doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, here we go. 3 of Christopher Nolan's biggest films, Dark Knight, Inception, and The Prestige, were shown in the game's Party Royale mode.
Exactly.
And that was in the lead up to Tenet, I think. Yeah, June 2020. That was the marketing for Tenet.
Get them hyped up before they watch it at home on VOD instead of going to the cinemas. Because you can.
I did like Tenet, though. I liked it.
I've watched it twice, I think. And I
don't think it's his
like
best
the
film.
craft of it, but I don't really care for the story. Like that it's trying to
I think it's a
tell.
very cool, intricate, little weird time travel movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, it certainly does get pretty convoluted.
Yeah.
I can understand why people would get lost watching this film.
Like, I even try to make sense of it. I watched a video like a fucking Primer. You know, when we watched Primer and they made us watch our good friends made us watch the explainer for Primer.
You know the movie's
afterwards.
not going to be good if the part of the cell is like, oh well, we have to watch the explainer.
It's
and you're
okay.
like, okay.
But it was a little bit.
It wasn't even that hard to follow what was happening. It wasn't. Primer.
Primer is not. Tenet is a bit.
The thing that made Primer hard to follow is that it was a bad movie.
Tenet was a little bit more convoluted when in its keeping track of what's going on, especially when you get into the second half of the film. You know?
Well, I mean, the last sequence being like two different operations happening in the same location over 10 minutes, but one is reversed.
Yeah.
And they're cutting back and forth. And they try their best, because like one is... It's easy to tell which one you're following, but you still get disorientated. But at the same time, there's an element that's like... It's kind of the point, because the main character never really fully grasps what's going on.
Yeah,
right?
that's true, yeah.
They kind of tell you don't worry about it that much. Just the main point is that there's weird, fucked up, forward, backward time stuff happening.
Yeah, they go to Russia and they try to dig out a bomb or something that will destroy the world.
It's like there's two different things that are happening. There's two different paths, one going forward and one going backward. And currently, the one going forward has the momentum.
Yeah.
In terms of like the two streams, basically, it's got the power. and there's like an algorithm from the future.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That would make it so that the backwards time stream gains more power. And if that were to happen, then things would cease to exist, because that shit doesn't make any sense.
Go back to the beginning of the world, I guess, because it would end up going back until the world stops existing.
That's where he got the call to do Oppenheimer. Because Robert Pattinson gave him a book on Oppenheimer, and he was like, wow, this guy's life is fascinating. I want to make a movie about him.
Why did Robert Pattinson give him a book about Oppenheimer?
Because they reference Oppenheimer in the movie.
Oh, okay.
They talk about how Oppenheimer made the bomb. And the person that made the algorithm in the future was like the Oppenheimer of time, basically. Where they made it, and then they were like, oop, this is fucked up. Maybe I can make it so nobody can get their hands on this algorithm.
Do you think Robert Pattinson actually read that book? Or he was like, I got a book about Oppenheimer?
I think Robert Pattinson is a pretty smart guy. I'm going to give him credit and say he's pretty smart.
I feel like so, but at the same time, I feel like he just did some word association, and he was in the airport and he just saw a book and he just grabbed it. And then we got an Oscar-winning movie out of it, and that's the chain of events, like Tenet,
I think he was just like, here's a book on this guy you were talking about in the movie, because you don't know a lot about him. And he was like, oh, thanks. And then he read it and he was like, that's pretty interesting.
And then he made a movie. He didn't know anything about Oppenheimer, and then he made a movie about it and won an Oscar for it. That's insane.
And at the time, Robert Pattinson was doing the Batman, so I guess he couldn't be in it. Even though he gave him the damn book.
Yeah. He was going back in time to make Batman. Yeah. But they also breathe reversed air when they go into the... No, they have to breathe forward air when they're in the reversed
if you're in reversed, you have to... the oxygen can't pass through your membrane because it's going reversed or whatever. So you need... And then also, if you get hit by fire, you get cold. Because the fire is reversed, so it's actually taking away heat.
Yes. It's endothermic, not exothermic.
Yeah. It's weird. I like it. I think it's a creative movie.
It's
like
definitely
and I support it. I don't think it's my favorite Nolan film, but I give it a thumbs up. Because I think it's cool. I think it's cool.
But in the reverse time, you're giving
multiple weird time-based heists in it.
You're in reverse. You're giving it a thumbs down.
No, in reverse, I'm taking away a thumbs up.
That's true. Yeah, you're taking away a thumb. Think about when you shoot the gun. Think about the bullets where they were, and in this case, you gotta think about the thumbs up ahead of time. Yeah. Before to make it.
I gotta. I don't know. I'm confused again.
I like the cars driving backwards. They're fun.
Yeah. I need something stupid instead.
Yeah?
Something that's very easy to follow. Like Final Destination.
That's not very easy to follow. What are you talking
about? It's very easy to follow. Here's my ranking.
But death is like the ultimate question,
2, 1, 5, 3, and 4. That's my ranking of the originals.
2, what? 2, 4?
2, second one, first one, fifth one, third one, fourth one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's angel number, maybe? I don't know.
Dude, you know what's so funny about the last Final Destination film at the time?
At the time?
Yeah, the fifth one.
Yeah.
Because there's a new one that came out a few days ago.
So we're not talking about that one. We're talking about...
I'll talk about that one in a second. Oh, okay. That one's a good movie. It's really funny that how much they lie to you at the end. Okay. So have you seen the fifth one?
No.
So the whole movie you're thinking is just like, oh, this is set in like 2011. You know? But then at the end, it turns out they get on the plane from the start of the first movie, which is set in the year like 2000.
Ah, okay.
So you're like, oh, it's like a full, like the last movie is a prequel to the first one. But then you think for 2 seconds, you're like, hey, wait a second. This movie definitely took place in like 2011 though. And you go back and you're like, all the PCs they're using are modern PCs. Like it completely just lies.
They couldn't be bothered making like the production to have like actually old time PCs and stuff for props. That's awesome.
It's so well because if it were like that, then you would go, like, "Oh, Tenet. Is this gonna be?" They didn't want to. I guess they wanted to bury the lead so much that the movie just lies to you completely.
They just make
it
all
just
the
pretends
PCs
all
blurry.
along like, "Ha, I got you. This was set in the year 2000." And it's like, no, it wasn't.
Just don't have any people interact with technology for the entire time. I don't know how you would do it, honestly.
But that's the issue. They do.
That's the thing.
They do. So much of it. There's scenes set in like a modern office.
They have
with like regular, like modern monitor, like flat monitors, flat wide monitors.
Yeah, they have fucking like flat screen TVs and shit like that. And you're like, that they didn't have those.
Stupid.
That's awesome.
So funny. It was really funny.
That's like, you know, when someone like tries to play a trick on you or like does a twist and you're like, this was dumb. What are you talking? And they're like expecting you to be like, wow, you know, like, what? This doesn't make sense.
This is the perfect, this is what I mean with like spoilers, right? Like if somebody spoiled that for you, then you might be kind of annoyed because it's like, oh, that would have been a good reveal. That would have been
funny, yeah.
But it's entirely reliant on the idea that you don't know. There's no foreshadowing of it whatsoever. In fact, the movie actively lies to you about the twist at the end. So really, it's like, it doesn't matter if that gets spoiled for you or not because the fucking scene is stupid. It sucks anyway.
But what about the newer one? The newest.
So the new one, after all those, I watched the new one, Final Destination Bloodlines, and I really liked it.
Okay.
This is the best movie in that entire franchise. It's got really over-the-top kills. The thing is, in the original, they start to do, like, there's more VFX as it goes on, right?
Yeah.
But it's, like, kind of low-budget, mid to late aughts VFX.
Yeah.
So it's often not very... It wasn't particularly good at the time, and it really doesn't hold up now, and it looks bad. Yeah. This has quite good VFX of, like, modern time, you know?
Yeah.
So whenever it goes into VFX, it's a little hard to tell. But on top of that, it's really fun. It's a really fun movie. There's a lot, the premise is more interesting than the other ones, where it's about, like... This lady was supposed to die like 40, 50 years ago and didn't. She ended up saving like a whole, it's like a Space Needle type thing. She saved like a whole Space Needle of people. So death has for the 50 years has been slowly working its way through those people and then all of the children and grandchildren.
God, that's like a disease. This is like It Follows.
Yeah, and it finally gets to the family of the lady that saved them all initially, right? And her granddaughter who inherits this ability to like see death coming.
Yeah.
And there's some really funny reveals in there. Minor spoiler, but there's like she works out where it's like, oh, death has already killed the grandma, so it's gonna go from oldest son, their children, to then oldest daughter and her children, right? Yeah. And it does the father. It does the oldest son. So she goes like, well, next it has to be that guy's oldest son, right? But then it jumps over him and goes to the eldest daughter instead. And they're like, "Oh my god, but how can that be? That goes against the system, you said." And the guy's wife is like, "I didn't ever want to have to tell you this, but he wasn't actually your father."
Nice, yeah.
It's this whole little subplot. But then, like, it's funny. There's a lot of funny moments. There's some really creative, disgusting kills in there. Really over the top stuff. And it's just a more engaging story than the other ones as well. With this whole like family that's trying to protect each other, not just a group of like random strangers.
Random strangers are cool. And you couldn't make a movie with random strangers now. Everybody's so isolated. Anyway, now that you're an expert on Final Destination, what sort of murder would happen to you? Like, how would you die if you were chased by death?
If I was getting chased by death,
yeah.
You can't choose, because it's like they show in these movies that when people try and kill themselves, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like you try. There's one guy in one of the movie, in like the fourth one, I think, he's trying to kill himself all day, and every single attempt fails. Because death doesn't want him to die there. He has like a whole plan,
Yeah, I'm just saying, what would your Goldberg machine of
I
death
think I would get the classic one where the character is walking backward out into the road and then they get hit by a truck.
It's just that
I think I would get, because that happens a couple times. I think I'd be one of those.
Okay.
Where I'm like, God, you guys, you're so annoying. You keep talking about how death is always... And I'm backing up into the road the entire time, getting really frantic. You're talking about how death is trying to kill us. Just fucking get over it. You're so paranoid. Oh, and then, poof.
Okay, that's a pretty good one.
Splat. Dead.
Dead.
I think I would get one of those.
Okay.
Nothing too elaborate.
Nothing too elaborate.
More of a punchline death,
I feel like maybe I would have something similar to that, in terms of like... There's like this entire incident of me like surviving like all these things that are in my house that were trying to kill me. I could kind of like go out and like, I was like, oh fuck, it's breakfast and I still like haven't fucking, like, I'm nearly died. Let me check my post, and then there's a bomb in my post and it explodes and kills me.
Who put the bomb there?
That's the thing. Then it turns out it was a guy that was like a Unabomber. But he got the wrong target, and I got the bomb accidentally because he misspelled the thing on the package.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah, and it kills me, and he's like, "Fuck."
It'd be a scene where there's like a little bit of death's influence when they're writing the address down on the package. And the thing the pen runs out of ink right as he's finishing off like a postcard.
Yeah. And it's like he was supposed to say Johnson, but it just said John, and and that's my name, and I explode and die. I think it would be pretty good.
It'd be a good one. There's a lot of those where it's like there's all these super elaborate ones that go on for like 5 minutes, and then at the end there's just like one little thing that gets them.
Exactly.
There's a lot of those.
It gets you when you're least expected, when you're at your weakest, when you survived the most and you're at your weakest,
But yeah, I'd say you don't necessarily need to go back for the old franchise, but the new one is definitely worth a watch. That's some fun, violent horror. And it's actually kind of suspenseful, unlike the old ones. The old ones are kind of like, even though you know all the characters are going to die, in this one... I at least got the feeling of like, I don't know where this is what's gonna get him. There's so much stuff going on. They set up so many little things, you don't quite know how it's gonna come together, and you get it. It feels tense.
Maybe the algorithm is wrong. Maybe there's something that they're missing. Yeah. Well, that's good.
I liked it.
I liked it. That's maybe I'll give it a watch. Maybe the final one. I can't bother watching all of them, honestly.
Yeah, you don't gotta watch. Well, I only watched them because I was like a little curious. You don't gotta.
Oh, curious.
You just watch the most recent one. It's fun. It's a fun
You were a little death curious,
I was a little death curious. Like bi-curious?
Yeah, exactly.
Die-curious.
Die-curious is pretty good.
I was That can be the tagline for the next one. It's at like a pride event.
Oh, no.
Like an accident at a pride parade gets avoided. And the tagline is the final destination, die curious.
Oh my god. Well, I don't know if it's woke or not, because it's like a bunch of gay people dying, or like, you know, LGBT people dying.
It would be less woke to portray them as like greater than death.
That's
right?
true. That's true. Death gets you either way, if you're gay or not, or, you know.
Death doesn't care if you're LGBT.
That's another good tagline.
That's the tagline. The subtitle is "Die Curious," and the tagline is "Death doesn't care if you're LGBT."
This is the worst. This is like, I feel like it wouldn't be a Final Destination movie, but the fucking, what are they called? Like that, like conservative movie studio that they were making is gonna steal this idea from
like
us.
Daily Wire.
Daily Wire is gonna steal this, and they're gonna call like Last Death or something. And then
that's too clever for them. I think.
Honestly, maybe yeah, but it's like
calling it Die Curious is too clever. For them.
Yeah, Die Curious.
They would just call it fun. Like LGBT death frenzy or some shit.
Yeah. Die. Yeah.
They'd get Babylon B to write it, and it'd be the worst fucking shit.
The worst thing ever. And
Babylon B first produced movie would be the least funny thing ever made.
And the VFX would be even worse than the original Final Destination movies. But anyway, Jesus. Okay, so Final Destination. What about the other big thing that I think we skipped twice over talking about it at this point,
I keep thinking about talking about it, but it's like it feels weird given that the sequel is out and neither of us are able to play it.
Because it's racist against us, because we don't have PS4s, PS5s.
It is racist.
It is racist.
You know what it is? It's gamer racist.
Gamer racist,
as Tommy Tallarico said once.
That's true.
It's gaming racist.
Exactly.
Death Stranding, Max. Woo! We're finally here.
You finished it. Yay! Finally.
You started it. Like, you were like, "Oh, do you want to play through this game and talk about it on the podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I probably won't get to it for a bit because I want to finish playing through this first." And you were like, "That's okay." And then like 2 weeks later, you were like, "I beat it," and I was like, "Well."
No, because you took so long. I gave you so much time to start playing it, and I got bored, and I was like, "I'll start playing it." And then you took so long to start playing it, and I got through it, and you still didn't start playing it. So I was like, well,
I was very busy.
I know. I
had a lot of stuff to do. I had to. You decided to just play something else, which was I was already playing something else, which I don't know what it was because
I would have to scroll through the chats, and
I can't.
If I type in death.
I'm getting there. I'm going to find it eventually. Hold on.
I'm gone.
Hold on.
A second. I'm just getting Robbie Williams' Death Stranding 2 cameo. Your message.
It would be a great cameo, man. He'd be walking up as a hologram, and he'd be like, "Hello, Sam Porter, you sexy beast."
Yeah, that is a good one.
What was I playing?
You were playing something. God damn it. It was so long ago because you took so long to finish this.
It doesn't matter. Either way, I am free of blame.
Yes, sure.
I'm the most noble person that's ever existed. And
Death will not pursue you.
Max, I think this has proven. I've talked about this with some other friends as well, but I think it was very interesting. There was a handful of games that came out. I think they were like PS4 exclusive, right? You had this. You had like Final Fantasy VII Remake and stuff. And when they came out, people were making videos going, "These games are dog shit. Death Stranding sucks. I can't believe people waited 5 years for Death Stranding and Kojima spent $8 billion and the game doesn't sell anything and it sucks and you just walk around. Ha ha ha." 2 years later, comes out on PC. Everybody, I'm going to say every single person, turned around. They were like, "Hey, you know what? Death Stranding? Actually, kind of good game. Actually, maybe I was actually wrong about it being bad, and it's actually one of the greatest games ever made. And actually, I always loved it. In fact, me, I was there from the start. I never doubted Kojima.
I played Death Stranding on. I borrowed the console from a friend to play it, so I was even earlier on this. You know,
I got the Steelbook edition on PS4.
And you played it?
Played some of it. It came out in a tumultuous time in my life.
Sure.
The COVID had just started.
Yeah, I bet.
COVID was coming, and I could sense it.
And it's a game about connection, and you didn't want that. Get away with that.
Here's the thing. Well, this is the thing. Everybody with like a real job that they can't do at the computer, they get put on furlough, and they're like, "Oh, I got nothing to do. I guess I'll sit around and play video games for 3 months straight." Woe is me. Unfortunately, I have a job where they go, "Hey, we set up your remote desktop. Get to work." Bozo.
It's the same thing.
And I'm like, I can't get paid by the government, please, for at least a couple weeks.
Yeah,
and
can't the government sponsor me playing Death Stranding for a little while?
Nope. Brother, we set this shit up over the weekend. You're going straight to work.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find what game you were playing. I'm trying.
Don't worry about it. I think I remembered what it was, and it's not important.
I just read Grab Stroker's Dicula. That's what I said when I watched.
When you watched Dracula.
Yeah, when I watched Dracula.
Grab Stroker's Dicula is great.
Jesus Christ. So dumb. The fuck.
Anyway, oh no, I think I got COVID on the train. Uh-oh.
You got COVID?
I'm just coughing.
It is COVID. It's like minor COVID. It's like if you would compare it to a COVID from when it first broke out, it would have like a tiny voice. Was like, I'm COVID. That's the COVID you're getting now.
What's the thing I was listening to? I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about current strain in America is being called like razor blade COVID.
Oh shit!
Where it's like you don't cough, but your throat feels like it's filled with glass.
Oh god, that's not good.
I was like, Jesus. Anyway, Death Stranding. I always believed in it. I never stopped believing in Kojima, even when he spent $8 billion to make this game, and it sold like 2 copies initially.
It's true, yeah.
I always believed in Kojima.
Sold pretty poorly. But I'm glad that I played it again.
I think people were too stupid when it came out.
Because of COVID? Because it broke their brain?
No, because it came out before COVID.
That's true, yeah.
It came out like late 2019. Like maybe like 5 months before COVID, I want to say.
Yeah.
And people were playing it, and they go, I can't believe they spent 5 years making this game.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes out on PC, and they go, actually, this game is awesome. Actually,
because all the people that play Euro Trucker Simulator on PC, and they were like, this is a great game.
Mm-hmm. This game is awesome.
They took all the...
And I get it. I'm not like a big... I think this is why this game appeals to me so much, is because it has all that gameplay. Because that kind of thing, I would get too bored too quickly.
Yeah.
The trucking and stuff. I appreciate it, and I think it would be fun for a bit, but I couldn't get into it in the same way that other people do. But Death Stranding has the added thing of like, oh, there's actually like a good story that's here too. So I can do that.
There's awesome. Something carrying you forward, and like I do enjoy...
And there's like a theme. There's a theme to it all.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a great story overall. Like it's an incredibly sad and beautiful story. You know. And
I finished this in the same week that I watched 28 Years Later, and both of those things together just made me weep.
Mm-hmm.
Horribly.
And I guess, do we talk spoilers in general? Like, is it a spoiler for Death Stranding? I guess, right? That's what
we'll get into spoilers.
We announced it, but yeah, it's like I do, and just it's like when you just playing the game feels really good. Like the way Sam moves through the world, the mechanics you can use to move through the world, traversal, like the tools you are provided with are they're There are obvious tools
and
like
the
ladders
aid of your
and
fellow players.
Porters. There you go, porters. And like, you know, you might seem like there's an item and you're like, oh, this is kind of useless, but you work out, oh, I can use it this way, and it's like this is like I feel like it's a Kojima staple where there are hidden mechanics or things that can be used in multiple different ways that aren't obvious initially, which I always love in video games where mechanics are kind of stretchy and
You want to give some examples?
Like, for example, like there was this tool specifically for the zip gun that allows you to pull packages off of things.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most useful, like initially I never used it like when I played the original game. And this game always carried it with me when I played it the second time because it's the most useful tool in basically out of all the arsenal of tools that you have, because it can allow you to basically, if you make mistakes, if packages fall somewhere, you don't have to get to that place. You can just zip those packages to yourself, you know? Or like even fighting mules, like getting packages from them and throwing them back at them. You don't have to carry a gun, you know? You can save a slot that way, you know? And it's like, you know, what else? Like in general, just the way ladders work, where you can make bridges out of ladders as well as moving, you know, vertically upwards with them. You know, you can use.
Do you want to know a little thing I saw about the second one?
You can use. Give me a second. You can use the rope to ford rivers easier. You know, and stuff like that. It's like it's little things that you can find out that are useful, and you can piss on the BTs to get them to get away a little bit when you get you know, attacked, you know. But yeah, it's you know, stuff like that. But go on, what was you gonna say?
If you've got two ladders, combine them.
Okay, and you make it wider or longer?
No, longer. You make like a double length ladder.
Jesus Christ, that's a very tall ladder. Yeah.
A big ass ladder, you can go over any mountain now.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like
I really want to play it, but I don't want to buy PS5.
I don't want to buy PS5 for a single game. There's nothing really, anything else interesting on that console. That's why that's the thing. Be resilient. Don't buy a console just to play a single game on it. It's e-waste. It's literal e-waste. Just wait a year and then just play it then when you get a director cut.
Eventually.
Exactly, you know.
We're sure of it. For me, the tools were great, but the thing that really kept me invested was that little baby.
Yeah, that's true.
BB feels like a companion in that game.
Yeah.
And that chapter when they take BB away,
it sucks.
I felt bad.
It sucks.
I was like,
yeah.
I miss BB.
Yeah, and
I miss soothing BB. I miss seeing little BB laughing at stuff. The signs that make BB happy.
Driving really fast and doing a somersault and then the BB goes like, "It's so funny that you did that." And you're like, "Yeah, it was cool," you know.
And that's what leads into the super impactful ending of the game, where you give birth to BB.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, exactly.
And now they're real. They're your real baby.
They're a real baby, real human being, you know?
Yeah.
It's just...
Makes me cry, man.
You get connected in a way where, like, I would just sometimes, if I find, like, one of those timefall shelters, I would sit down and just soothe him, you know? Just for a second, you know? Even if I didn't need to do it, you know? And it's, like, it's so amazing that, like, at least for me, you know, it encouraged, like, the game made me do that, you know, through its design, its storytelling, you know. But
I'll tell you what, some people put shit down in a way that pissed me off, and I had to go and destroy it.
That's true. Sometimes,
like when you're setting up those zip lines and you go and put one down, and it's like, oh, some fucking asshole has put like a power line right there. But it's like optimum position.
Maybe he was building it in a different place, you know? Maybe, like, that's the thing. I
think there are a couple in there that are... I got to a couple placements that were like, I think this is a malicious placement of something.
Sometimes certain, like, I feel like certain structures could have been placed in, like, a malicious way. I'm thinking
I got that feeling.
There's
like there were definitely some people who would like set up ladders just to fuck with your buttons.
Just to fuck
and
with
you get
people,
on it, and it's like it leads to the most treacherous area ever. And you fall and drop everything.
Can you grief other players? You know,
You can grief other players.
You can
even though
grief
it's a game about not griefing. Other
it's about
players.
connection, and these people, even
about
in a
building
game
connections.
that basically, you know, encourages you to connect with other people, and even indirectly, you know, just by living, leave something behind for others to use, you know, they'll still do it, you know, they'll still try to grief you, you know, which is incredible, honestly, at the same time. It's human nature is really a weird thing, isn't it?
Very much so.
But what else? I like the variety of environments. Like, it's not, you know, the new game, like you can see in the new game from the trailers, but still, you know, going from like the flatlands that you go through to like more infested BT areas to like the mountains, for example, that you have to deal with a little bit differently, you know, really trying to be efficient to like doing certain jobs, like really trying to S rank those is also fun to do, in my opinion, at least, you know, like trying to be efficient and engineer your way into an efficient way.
I went through and I 5-starred everything, but I'm not too much of a stickler for like, I want to S rank this stuff. I'm kind of like, A is good enough for me.
I tried. I don't know why. It's just something tickled my brain in a way where I was like, I need to do this. I need to do this S rank this one, you know? Do the super or whatever, where you do like the variant where it's like even stricter on the conditions, you know, that you need to do.
The premium delivery.
Yeah, and it's I love the characters that you meet. The mammoth character is such a
Margaret
weird
Qualley.
Yeah, Margaret Qualley as Mama. And her
back drive away dolls.
That's true.
She was
And
in that.
her playing two characters, you know, I guess in a way, and it's like
Or
how that
one
storyline exactly, or one character, you know,
Because
depending how
they're
you
weird
want to
twins.
kind of interpret it in a way, you know. It's some people say it's like, oh, it's a body and a soul, you know, that's been separated, and they actually come back to their actual like natural state at the end that they should be in, you know. I really like things like that, like the hot springs, you know, like that idea, like where you can just kind of chill out, you know, in a bit, like just take a break and play with BB. And for some, it's I don't know if it's you notice that, but Sam, that him singing isn't localized. He sings in Japanese, which is interesting. But I guess it was I guess he just sings in Japanese, you know. I really like Sam's arc throughout the entire thing. He
starts as an isolated loner, and then he comes to love.
Yeah.
He comes to accept connections.
Yeah, literally.
Just a little bit.
It literally just yeah, exactly. Just a little bit. Like, like having the physical reaction to touch and closeness, you know, like what's it called? Like the thing about he gets whenever people touch him, they leave a print,
or whatever,
whatever phobia it is, you know, like the skin irritation that happens whenever he touches other people is
There's
just
that
such
great scene where he's in the shower with Dead Man.
Yeah,
and Dead Man is talking like right up close to him, and Sam is like really tucked up and in the corner, like trying to stay as far away from Dead Man as he can in this really confined space.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
although the characters are lovely, Dead Man, Die Hardman, you know, Amelie herself is interesting.
Yeah,
all sorts, and you got a lot of like
Higgs's
little micro stories within that. You've got like the junk collector and the chiral artist and stuff.
That was a really interesting kind of little weird side story with them trying to they lost each other, and you help them reconnect, and then it turns out they don't want to be together, and then they come back together.
They come back together.
Yeah,
again.
it's such a...
It turns out that he was part of a gang that, like, killed her parents, but he didn't kill her parents, and he tried to take care of her instead.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole thing. There's lots of emails and logs to read.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I feel like it's a bit of a commentary on just, like, you know, the reality of being close to another person with the kind of romanticize, you know, like, because they're separated when they come together, they living together in the same space, you know, is a bit different, you know, and then they kind of grow older, right? They're kind of childish about this idea of marrying each other, you know, and then they kind of grow into that idea of like, maybe we should be adults about it because we actually do love each other, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because you reunite them and then like the first email you get from the junk collector afterwards
it's like bitching. Yeah.
Boy, being married is kind of fucking annoying, Sam. This sucks. My wife is really fucking annoying.
She's annoying as fuck. She complains.
And it makes you as the player go like, man,
come
why
on.
the fuck I do all this?
Yeah, I carry, because you have to carry her on your back.
You have to carry her across the fucking like mountains. Well, you carry her along the shore because there's no BTs there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, and
I like the other stuff. Fragile as well. Higgs.
The knowledge you develop of the game, like the areas where BTs are active, all that, it does feel very, I don't know, if you play Stalker, the Stalker series, that same very similar feeling of like getting to know the land.
It's immersive. It's immersive.
Exactly. It's a very immersive feeling of like, I get to thrive in this world because my knowledge of it becomes greater as I play it. You
start to create your own landmarks in your mind.
Exactly.
Because there's not really any particular landmarks outside of like buildings in this game. So you kind of start to just generally build up an internal knowledge of like, oh, there's a river coming up and I know there's like a little bridge that somebody left further up. So if I just head up the river a little bit, I can go across it. There's this big rock up here that I can use as a landmark. If I like take a left over here, I can go up the mountain in like an easy way and get to a location up there that I can do something. You know, you start to internalize this world in a way that feels very natural and interesting.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like, obviously they took a lot of great care in developing this world, but it doesn't feel designed, you know, it feels natural.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there are particular... like there are natural paths you would take because they're the paths of least resistance, basically, throughout the world, right? That's why
the game promotes that because as you do that, those paths become clearer, and it's like even to the point where it's like areas that were covered in like rocks and stuff. You come back there later, and it's like the rocks are gone because you just walked on the area so much, and other porters have walked along the area so much they just
it creates a footpath. It creates a footpath created by everybody, you know. And you feel like you're walking with them at the same time. You're connected to them, you know. And
especially when the game starts like seeding in NPC porters that are just around.
I do really like. I would always like wave at them. I would always wave at them whenever I would meet them because it's like it's such a like. Yeah, exactly. This game does a really good job of like whatever connection is there, you feel it, you know, you want it, you know, sort of thing, you know. Like
it feels good. It feels good to build up your ratings, your porter rating.
Your likes,
it feels
and
good
stuff.
to get likes for things that you've done. Just getting like little pop-ups saying like you're halfway across the map and it says like a porter liked your time shelter and it's like yippee yippee
yeah, and it's like I would go out of my way to like, instead of using a vehicle I manufactured, I would pull one from a garage, and I would, whenever the likes would refresh, I would like it whenever I was using it, you know? Because I was like, I'm gonna be using this vehicle, I might as well use a different porter's vehicle and give them likes as I'm driving it around, you know? And
I built my own sometimes because I like to be able to color it myself.
Yeah, exactly, but I didn't care that much for it. So, but yeah, it's... just even fighting in the game, like the shooting and the actual, like, especially like
I think combat is the weakest part of the game.
It is definitely, but it still has.
But I don't think it's not bad. It's just shallow.
Yeah, exactly. Like I do like the kind of, if you get into a tussle, like melee tussle, and you like those punches feel weighty, you know, when when some punches a guy, you can really feel it, you know. And the visual element of the sound design is great on that, you know. And like throwing a package at a guy, a meal, feels really good too, you know.
Yeah, there's that, and I mean the whole fight with Higgs at the end feels so good because of all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you have no weapons and you're just throwing ruined packages at him and then running up and like beating his ass.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have your little punch out fight with him in the water.
With a health boss.
Fantastic boss, yeah.
And you end up defeating him with a rope, like literally tangling him with the rope, and it's like it's such a like funny but kind of heavy-handed, you know, theming, you know, of the game with the idea of sticks, you know, sticks and rope, the oldest tools of humanity, you know, one to bring us together, one to push us away, you know. And I'm really curious about, that's the thing, it's like I'm so now talking about recalling Death Stranding 1, like makes me want to play the second one so much more, you know.
It does, man. Because I want to see my baby again. I want to see Lou.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see my BB growing up.
I like Fragile's character. Fragile, like, it's such a tragic, you know, character that kind of, you know, the sacrifices she makes throughout the entire story to other people, and then also to Sam, like even the service she provides of fast traveling, you know, Sam is like, it's a physical toll she takes every single time she does it, you know. And it's like there is not an Easter egg, I don't know if you want to call it that, but if you abuse it, like she will refuse to help you, you know, like she becomes mad, and it's like, of course she would, because it's literally physical toll that it takes on her. I never did that, you know. I had to
I only ever used it twice, once to go back to the old continent and then go back again, really. That's the only voluntary time I used it.
Yeah, I think so. I think I
also
also
go
did that
back
because
and
there's too
fucking
much.
5-star the musician because I didn't fucking see him until too late.
Yeah, I did like
Hiding up there.
You played the Lou's song on the BB's song on the harmonica, and he goes like, you know, du, 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 you know, the things that like coming back to combat, I do kind of like the encounters with the mules. I didn't like the encounters with Unger. The fights in the I didn't like them too much.
I think they're not great, but they're also not too obtrusive, at least for me.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of get through them pretty quickly. I think they feel very cool thematically, and the design of it is all really cool. You go through like World War I trenches.
Yeah, exactly.
World War
like
II,
the design
a
elements
city,
are...
and then like a jungle in Vietnam. Is all very well done, but then actual fighting him is you just shoot a bunch of guys.
Just shoot him a bunch. Yeah, it does kind of deflate those encounters a little bit, you know, when you're just firing guns at him until he gives up, you know.
But despite that, Clifford Unger is a very cool character, and the reveal you get at the end of him and Sam's relationship is very moving. It's very
exactly. And
not only that, but his relationship to Die Hardman as well, who probably one of the best performances in a video game I think anybody's ever given.
Really good.
At the end, when he confesses to killing Clifford and stuff, and after becoming
to
president,
Sam,
it's like he's it's a very, I mean, I think people have talked about it to death, but it's an incredible performance. Yeah, one of the best out there for sure. Tommy Earl Jenkins, good job. Thumbs up. Like, and you have. I really love. What's he called? Hartman, where he would just like you all the time. It's very funny.
It's so awesome. Where he'd
look
just go
right at the camera and give you a thumbs up.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then there's that great bit where you leave his house and you scratch his record for some reason. He goes, "Eerie," and he dislikes it. But then the camera pans down and he's got your thumbs up and you get the likes back. Anyway.
It's so awesome.
It's so stupid.
I just love the even design of his place of like the mattresses that would inflate when he fell.
The floor
whatever
inflates,
he fell. It's like it's so many doohickeys, let's say, that are designed for this world, in this world that like is very futuristic, they like Chiralium is basically
like prefabricated.
Yeah, exactly. Like Chiralium is basically nanobots. Like they basically they have 3D printers that can just manufacture whatever you want, right? So it's like it is very, and just the design. I love the design of Death Stranding, like this futurism. But I really like Higgs's arc too, with like a loser, basically. What a loser he is.
Delivering his pizzas?
No, I didn't enjoy it, and can go fuck himself, basically.
A lot of the pizzas are fine. The only one that sucks is the one where you have to physically carry the little thing alongside, which means you have to walk all the way across the map.
Exactly, that's the worst one.
The rest of them are not that bad because you just fucking drive.
But it's just funny that he makes you do that. Like he uses you as a porter, and it turns out he's like obsessed with you. You go inside his bunker, and he's got like conspiracy boards basically about Sam, and photos of him just in random places, like stalker.
He's the antithesis of Sam, He hates connection. Connection sucks. Everybody should die and be disconnected from
exactly, yeah.
Fuck
The
America.
world should end, basically,
Yeah.
And the ironic part is that he's
an accelerationist.
He's an accelerationist, and the only power he has was created by someone else, right? It was induced by what's she called?
By Amelie.
Amelie, and it's it could have been revoked at any point. He was a tool the entire time, and there was no sort of like free will in what he was doing. He was just doing someone else's bidding. Emily just found an extremist that would have just done what she wanted them to do, and provided them with the tools to do it. It's really funny, the bit where he gives you a nuke and it's clearly him. Like, you can tell that it's Higgs, giving you the nuke. And you're like, what do I do with it now? But yeah, it's, all the pre-rendered cutscenes are really nice in this. Yeah, not even pre-rendered. They're on the engine, I think, all of them. Yeah. I don't think they use any pre-rendered cutscenes, but all of the cutscenes basically are really well directed.
Really well done, really well directed, and the direction is even more incredible in the second one. Like, a lot of those scenes in the second one look like movies more than they do a video game.
It's a shame we can't play it. Well,
yeah.
Kojima, get on it, please. Make a PC version.
Send me a PlayStation 5, please. I want to play your game, Kojima, please.
Yeah, can you include Dead Ensigns in your game and on the iDroid so you can listen to an episode?
Why not?
I know.
We'll do like exclusive episodes.
Yeah.
You do like 6 exclusive 1-hour episodes, and they get released to you as you play the game. Mm-hmm. You get a little notification, you get an email from the Dead Ensigns newsletter
from within
we just released a new episode.
But we're in the universe of Death Stranding, basically. Mm-hmm. We're in a bunker somewhere, trying to. We're preppers somewhere in a bunker.
We're using the chiral network.
We're using the chiral network to propagate podcast slop.
Is what America is missing in the new world.
That's true. Yes,
is crap.
This podcast is going to unite the world. Honestly, at this point, that's
you're going to have the two big pieces of media are going to be Dead Ensigns and Ludens.
Yeah, and Norman Reedus Sam is going to go, oh, this is Dead Ensigns, my favorite podcast, while he drives on this motorcycle. I love this podcast.
Podcast is great.
He's got some funny.
Just every now and then, he's got laughs queued up for when you're listening to the thing. And we'll make a joke and he'll
my God. No.
And Lou will also laugh as well sometimes.
Oh, yeah, because she mimics him.
You like that one?
Neelix penis, am I right?
Yeah, we're just Neelix penis.
But yeah.
Have you heard of the Sam Porter Bridges guy?
Yeah.
More like Sam Porter Fridges. I need my food cold.
Yeah, he brings us podcasting equipment like microphones and stuff that we don't use. We just, for some reason, we can just infinitely get microphones.
Yeah, we just keep needing new microphones.
For some reason. Did Elder die in your world? Did you check up on him?
No, I didn't check up on him.
No.
Why would I? If I've started him, he's up on top of the mountain. I'm like, all right, I'm done. That's the thing. I feel like a bad person ultimately because I 5-star somebody and then I don't talk to them again unless I need their resources.
Finished with you.
I need to get going, dude. I gotta go save America.
What I would do is I would just use the bots.
Every single
I would use the bots to send them some medicine every once in a while. You know, the automatic delivery bots that I would use. And I was like, fuck off, old guy. I don't care. I'm not climbing that fucking mountain. And it's like it's so funny. Yeah, because you check him and it's a BT in the hologram.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you don't deliver his heart medicine. I'm dying! Sarah!
Hey, look, I can't be the only one, because you know how much of that heart medicine I just saw lying on the ground everywhere?
True, there's
other
a lot.
porters clearly just dumping that shit, so like, alright, I don't need this. Is like 20 pieces of heart medicine.
He's old, and he'll die in a year or two. What's the point?
He fucking cares. Old fucking asshole.
He's gonna be using, like, using chiral network for like Facebook anyway. Who cares about that? You know.
Hey, look, maybe he shouldn't have had a whole mule camp at the base of his fucking.
True. Huh? I bet the reason why it was because he made them somehow. You know,
they were his grandkids.
Those were his grandkids. The hills have iced them. You know. But yeah. Death Stranding. Ding! He got thumbs up from us.
It says like.
Like.
He goes,
like. Yeah. But, you know. Can't wait to play the fucking second game in a year or two. Or whatever. Or maybe like never. Maybe Sony will be like, you know what? A year and a half. We don't care anymore, you know?
They don't own it.
That's true. I forgot about that, but
I think they just have. I think they fund the game for the exclusivity for like a while, but Kojima owns it, and then eventually he can just be like, "All right, dump it on PC." They probably already have like a pretty well functioning like PC build of the game. You might be
right, yeah.
That they just like sit on for like a year and a half and then go, all right, character's got, here you go. It's got like a couple bits of new content. Have fun.
Yeah, we'll call it director's cut like last time, and there you go. So we can sell the game again, basically. Which is pretty sad that's the case, but you know.
I mean, you say sell the game again, but I think the amount of people that will be rebuying it on PC are probably kind of low. Probably. I think the vast majority of people will be buying it for the first time because they don't own a PS5.
I was just thinking about a different case for some reason, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, you got anything else you want to talk about? We talked about Death Stranding finally. Checked it off the list.
I watched All Quiet on the Western Front.
Well, how about you be quiet on the Western Front because we're going to need to finish the episode.
I got kind of annoyed, man. There wasn't one MGMT song in the whole movie.
Oh, okay.
I got so confused.
You got
Not even the credit. I was like, well, maybe they'll play Little Dark Age in the credits. Nope, just ends.
It's all classic music instead, you know.
Like, where's the fucking
when you're in a trench, yeah.
But you know what? This is definitely what it's like when somebody tells me that white people are bad. This is like definitely exactly how I feel as well. You know.
What, the song? I mean?
No, the movie.
The movie when white people are bad? Yeah, it's like how,
you know, you're like, war is awesome, and then 10 minutes later, you're like, oh, wait, this sucks.
That's true.
That's exactly what it was like when I left school and I had to get like a normal job, basically. Yeah, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm not going to get everything I want in life. Fuck. fuck, it's just like me in my life.
Yeah, that in that trench.
My little dark age.
My little dark age compared
with the
to
tank
that.
rolling over that guy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's me having to go wake up in the morning, to go to work and contribute and pay taxes.
That one guy that like threw down his gun and surrendered. And he was like, I give up, and then they blasted him with a flamethrower. Well, that's me when my boss says you need to come back from your lunch break.
That's true.
It's really busy at the registers. We need your help. It's like that's my little dark age right there. That's
exactly what it is.
And I'm slowly becoming estranged from all of my boys because we just don't have as much time to hang out anymore. Whereas in the movie, it's because they're all dying.
They literally can't hang out because they're dead.
Yeah, they literally can't hang out because they're like getting shot and killed and burned and stuff like that. And
then it's Death Stranding because you're not isolated and disconnected. Because so much media applies to your life in general, right?
Yeah, I'm basically the person that everybody's writing stuff for.
Yeah, I'm Sam Porter Bridges in a trench in World War One, which he literally is at one point in the game. But also, there's Little Dark Age playing over the footage as I'm.
And also, I'm kind of like Tenet.
And also, I'm also going
I'm kind
backwards.
of like protagonist in Tenet.
There is also bullets shooting back into guns.
Yeah. And like, I hold my hand out and I catch something in reverse. Because true. I have to have caught it for it to reach its destination.
That's true.
And I'm getting in that big thing that spins around and now I'm going backwards.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta put the gas
the
mask
device.
on.
That's such a dumb device.
I was wondering if I were doing a sequel or a spin-off, it would be interesting to do like, what if you were getting reversed and you went too far back and the machine stopped existing?
That's true.
But if you like, you just got stranded in time and you were just going backwards forever.
Well, you're dead, right? You're just kind of the same thing like the algorithm, right? You just end the world. The world ends for you in a way, right? Would you just go back inside your mother?
No, because you're still going forward.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're also going backwards in time. I liked it. I thought Tenet was awesome. And you know what else is awesome? Ensigns. Number one. Thanks for listening. I'm Ben. This has been Max. If you'd like to email us about your Death Stranding theories, who made the BT? What is a Death Stranding?
Maybe the questions have been answered in the second game.
Who is Sam's dad? Maybe they'll answer it in the second one.
They'll answer it in the second one, yeah.
I hope so, because I'm so confused.
I haven't been really listening or watching. I just been
skipping
the cut.
I
skipped the cutscenes.
And they didn't really explain it very well.
I just really didn't enjoy the game because I just skipped the cutscenes,
And the movie, the dialogue is really bad because all of the characters like talk earnestly about something. And I prefer when characters are ironic, but also I don't like it when characters are ironic because too much stuff is ironic
still
now.
Obvious, yeah.
So I actually don't like it, but also I don't like it when it's honest either. So basically, I kind of hate everything because if everything sucks, it affirms my belief that I'm the only intelligent one that could make media.
That's true.
But I don't want to because nobody will let me.
Yeah,
and also they're not worth it.
You're a tenant in terms of creating media.
I'm basically Tenet of
because you're creating media in reverse where you're consuming it, but nothing is.
I'm going to go forward in time, and then I'm going to go backward in time. I'm going to make Death Stranding before Death Stranding.
That's true, yeah. Kojima will need you to be moving back in time so he can create Death Stranding and you lifting your hand.
I'm like Tenet. I'm Tenet. I'm going back in time. I've got my gun. I got the gun that shoots backwards. I'm Tenet.
What if you take the gun that shoots backwards into the backwards, or does it become shooting forwards? Oh no.
I don't know about that, but Robert Pattinson really wanted to fuck him in that movie.
He did.
There was a lot of sexual tension.
Maybe he did because he did at one point implied that he was like knew him before they even knew.
No, at the end of the movie, he's like, I go
die
die now, but you have to go and meet me and recruit me still.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go on so many fun adventures. Just you wait. And then they're not going to make a sequel because Christopher Nolan doesn't work with Warner Brothers anymore.
Yeah. You know all my holes. You see all my
You'll
holes.
explore all of my orifices.
Yeah, in forward and backwards in time, actually.
I mean, it would be forward and backward regardless of the time thing. It can't just be forward. That doesn't really
Because
make
it's
the
forward
motion
and
of that
backward.
doesn't
It might be
make
backward and forward. You know, if you
forward and back and forward and back and forward. If you've got Tenet theories, how would you use the time machine? Email us deadensigns@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment on our YouTube, Dead Ensigns. The podcast is also uploaded there as YouTube videos. You can like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't want to do that and you only care about audio, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, any other podcast app. We're probably on there. Check us out. Give us a rating, subscribe or save, all that stuff. It's very much appreciated. Until next time, bye-bye. See ya.
Bye.
You're my little dark age. That's my quote of the episode.
Okay.
It's shorted out, sir. We're gonna have to phaser it.
Then what are you waiting for?
Right away, sir.
Faster would be better, Ensign.
I can't, sir. We don't want to...
That's enough.
But, sir...
Stand aside, Carlton. I'm going through. You're alive. Good.